The Auditor-General provides assurance to Parliament on the accountability and performance of the Victorian public sector. The Auditor-General conducts financial audits and performance audits and reports on the results of these audits to Parliament. On 27 November 2013, the Auditor-General tabled his report on portfolio departments and associated entities, results of 2012-13 audits. This report covers the 30 June 2013 financial audit results of the 11 portfolio departments and 197 associated entities that are not reported in our other sector-based reports. The Auditor-General's report comments on the quality of financial reporting, financial sustainability of self-funded entities, the use of contract and temporary staff at the 11 portfolio departments, and business continuity and disaster recovery planning frameworks. Financial reports prepared by the portfolio departments and associated entities are both timely and accurate, and their contents can be relied on by Parliament and the public. We have issued 203 clear audit opinions, with only 5 audit opinions outstanding at 20 November 2013. This is a good outcome for these key public sector entities. Of the 203 audit opinions issued, only 2 included an emphasis of matter paragraph that drew the reader's attention to a situation or circumstance in the financial report. The Department of Education and Early Childhood Development, DECD, reported school buildings in its balance sheet at 30 June 2013 of $6.63 billion. DECD has a policy whereby school assets are impaired annually if the size of a school's buildings exceeds the school's entitlement by more than 10%. A school's entitlement is based on enrolment numbers. During the period 2007-8 to 2012-13, $4.4 billion was invested in school buildings by the Commonwealth and state governments, including new facilities and refurbishments under the Building the Education Revolution program. Over the same period, school enrolments did not increase at the same rate as the spending. As a consequence of the impairment policy, school buildings were assessed as impaired and $1.274 billion written off. In February 2013, our Implementation of School Infrastructure Programs Performance Audit raised issues of overcapitalisation of school buildings by 38% and maintenance shortfalls that put at risk the achievement of objectives for investing in school buildings. The findings in this report reinforce those messages. In particular, by reducing the asset base of DECD through impairment, there is a risk that funding for asset maintenance may not be provided. We have requested DECD to review its impairment policy because we consider that the school buildings that may be in excessive need are still capable and available for providing educational outcomes and for community use. DECD has formed a working group, and we expect DECD to resolve this matter by the end of 2013. Of the 208 entities covered by this report, 47 are self-funded, in that the majority of their revenue is generated from operations. These 47 self-funded entities should aim to generate enough revenue from operations to fund asset replacement and new acquisitions if they are to be sustainable over the long term. Our analysis of results over the past 5 years indicated that there are 6 self-funded entities rated as a high financial sustainability risk year on year. 5 of these entities manage large public sector assets, but these assets do not have an income stream sufficient to enable them to pay operating costs and maintain the assets. They receive no funding for depreciation under the current funding model. However, they are governed by boards and trusts, who have financial responsibilities which they cannot fulfil. These 5 entities are Docklands Studios Melbourne, Federation Square, Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre Trust, State Sports Centre Trust, and Victorian Arts Centre Trust. We have been raising this conflict over a number of years and across a number of different results from audit reports, but we have not seen any action from the Department of Treasury and Finance, DTF, to addressing this issue. As you will see later in this presentation, DTF have not accepted our recommendation to address this. Each year we conduct controls testing over specific areas of a portfolio department's internal controls. One such focus area reported on this year is the controls, management and oversight of contract and temporary staff. Contract and temporary staff may be used by portfolio departments to procure specialist skills not available within the current staff mix, or short-term roles not needed on an ongoing basis. We plan to analyse the patterns of spending on contract and temporary staff to see if there have been any changes as a result of the Sustainable Government Initiative to reduce the public sector workforce. Due to a lack of data, a lack of central records, and inconsistencies in the way portfolio departments define contract staff, we were unable to analyse the spending patterns. Where testing could be performed, we found that contract and temporary staff are engaged for long periods of time. For example, some contract staff had been engaged for more than 10 years at the one department, and 69 individual temporary staff had been engaged across all portfolio departments for more than 3 years. We found that appointments were extended, but there was little evidence that performance reviews were performed and considered when extensions were made. We further found that contract and temporary staff are being used by portfolio departments to replace employees rather than to fill short-term or ad hoc vacancies. The legality of these arrangements needs to be explored. In our focus review over business continuity, we looked at the plans in place at portfolio departments and the shared services on which they rely. Business continuity plans should set out how an entity will respond in the event of an interruption to its operations from a significant event such as a natural disaster, equipment failure, or other cause. This is particularly important in the public sector, where the disruption of services, such as support payments or provision of water to households, can have a detrimental impact on the community. Included in a business continuity plan should be a documented and tested disaster recovery plan. While portfolio departments have business continuity plans at the divisional level, 7 did not have an overarching plan to prioritise and manage response and recovery in the event that one or more divisions is impacted. Further, portfolio departments had not considered the business continuity plans of their shared service providers, nor assessed any gaps or risks between the service providers' plans and their own. While most portfolio departments have a disaster recovery plan, the effectiveness of these plans is uncertain, as Cenetex, the IT service provider for 10 portfolio departments, has no disaster recovery capability sufficient enough to respond to a significant event. This means that the ability to recover operations and provide essential public services is at risk. Such a risk should be unacceptable to Parliament and the public. As the role of Cenetex changes in the future to brokering and managing services, this disaster recovery risk may further increase. This report makes 11 recommendations. The first recommendation is that the Department of Treasury and Finance should review the funding model to address the consequential financial sustainability risks for self-funded entities. The Department has not accepted this recommendation. This is notwithstanding that we have raised the conflict between the funding model and self-funded entity board and trust responsibilities over a number of years, in this and other reports on the results of financial audits. The Department have not taken action to date, and therefore we have proposed a review of the model which has not been accepted. This means the problem will remain unresolved and the state assets they manage remain at risk. The Department have contended in their response that it is not atypical of these entities to report a deficit in any one year. In fact, the 5 entities discussed in this report have reported underlying deficits year on year for the past 5 years. Over time, these deficits must have an effect on the ability of entities to fund maintenance and asset renewal. Other key recommendations made in the report are that portfolio departments should maintain registers of all contract staff to facilitate regular monitoring and management. Portfolio departments should conduct and document periodic performance reviews for all contract staff, and specifically before determining whether to extend contracts. Cenetex should lead the development and regular testing of a disaster recovery plan. And Cenetex and portfolio departments should clarify and agree on their respective responsibilities for disaster recovery management. All our reports are available on our website. If you have any questions about this or other reports, or if you have anything else you would like to discuss with us, including ideas for future audit topics, please call us on 03 8601 7000 or contact us via our website.